Welcome back to another episode of the Humble Hustle podcast. We are your hosts, Nick and Kayla.
Hello, hello.
And today we have a guest. He is a videographer, photographer, food stylist,
if you could say that.
landscaper,
That's a strong
professional,
term.
and probably some other things that I'm forgetting. But welcome to the studio, Luke Bednarek.
Thank you for having me.
Second Luke B too.
Yeah, we had a Luke B.
Yeah,
last
I
time.
listened to the last one actually in the car on the way here.
So now we got to.
And I was like, oh, Luke, okay, this will be a good example of what to expect.
Exactly.
They'll probably introduce me the same way.
Well, thank you for coming on. I'm really excited because I've heard all sorts of stuff about you from Nick. Obviously, you know, you guys work closely together.
I've
and I know you
definitely
have...
name dropped you on this podcast before.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I've heard a lot of things. It's nice to finally meet you and like just want to hear about all your, you know, your background and then like how you guys work together and everything. And yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can you tell us like how did you get into this field in particular?
Yeah, I can tell you that. It's been, I guess it's kind of a convoluted journey, but I'll give like a rough overview.
Spark notes.
As far as I started out doing mostly video. When I was in 8th grade, there was a little like after school program and they were looking for kids that were interested in doing video stuff. And it was just like a little week-long thing. You stay after school and you play with cameras. So me and a friend of mine were like, oh, let's do that. We did that. And then a guy that was helping out with that program worked for a local community television station and sort of saw that we were very interested in it and was like, hey, do you want to come work for us on the side? And within like a couple of months, they were paying us to come and run it was mostly municipal meetings, so like really boring stuff, but I was in 8th grade.
Yeah, wow.
So like money was cool in general.
Yeah.
And I was interested in what we were doing. It was all live production. And it was just long, drawn out, boring meetings. So not only did I get to learn about video, but I also learned a lot about like government and how it works, which was pretty cool. So that in a lot of ways, I think kind of shaped me and like gave me a different perspective. I feel like it actually helped me get a little bit ahead, just understanding how things work. So I did that from 8th grade all through high school. When I was in high school, started shooting some weddings on the side because that was from watching YouTube. I kept seeing all these wedding filmmakers and the whole wedding video concept was really becoming popular and more people were doing that. So I started shooting weddings on the side.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself originally. And then I met, I met him because I bought a Ronin M, which was...
That was my first Ronin too.
That was my I bought it like right when it became a thing. At the time, it was an insane purchase.
Same.
Because I was in high school and it seemed like a lot of money. But I was filming a video for the school like career fair. The person that was in charge of that was like, oh, Luke, you make videos. Can you make a video about our career fair? We have all these different companies and stuff coming in. And I was like, oh, sure. Like, cause I was just eager to do something. And then I met a guy who was local and runs a like small, video business, you know, like we all do now. And he kind of took to me because I had the Ronin and he had never seen one before in person because it was such a new thing. No one had gimbals. Everyone just had glide cams.
Interesting.
So he was like, oh, do you want to like shoot something with me? So then I started shooting with him. Second shot for him a whole bunch. What was that?
Devin?
That was Miles.
Oh.
I don't know if you know Miles. Miles Woodworth. Some of you may know him. He does a ton of business branding stuff. Like that's what he specializes in now. But at that time, he was a little more all over the place, just as we all are when we start. But so I got into doing stuff with him. Eventually, just kind of kept shooting video, started shooting photos at some point, and ended up where I am now.
Did you go to college?
I did.
Okay.
I did. So after high school, I started college. I was going to community college for engineering, and I had the whole 2 years there, 2 years at a 4-year school to get my degree in engineering. And COVID was going on and everything. So it was a weird time. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be an engineer, and that was going to be my life path. And that was just what it was. Because I always, for whatever reason, that was the career I always saw myself in based on my interests and everything. Video was like a side thing.
Oh, okay.
It was more for like the art of it, I guess.
Okay.
But after those 2 years, especially with COVID, my dad's also an engineer, so I got to see him working from home, and I just realized how miserable the rest of my life was going to be if that's what I continued to do. And around the same time, a friend of mine who I knew from high school but really didn't hang out with much started. It was during the time when a lot of people were starting clothing brands. And he started one and asked me to come shoot a video for them. And I was like, oh, sure, whatever. And through that, they were all at UNH, and I started hanging out with them more. And a couple of them were in the business school studying marketing. And at some point during that, I realized that's what I wanted to do. And I was just like, I'm done with engineering. Got out of that, got into marketing, and then pursued that alongside video.
Okay, awesome. So you finished your degree in marketing instead?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and that was like the greatest transition I ever made. I would have been miserable sitting behind a desk all day doing math and stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, you know, I kind of feel the same way about when I was going to college and I really wanted to be a writer, and that's kind of where I wanted my focus to be. But the whole journalism world has just shifted so much. And I think I also would have been miserable not being able to be creative in the way that I am now. So yeah, it's good that you recognized and made the shift, you know, like, and now you obviously love what you do. So it paid off. When did you graduate college?
I graduated, when did I graduate?
I'm just trying to figure out how old you are.
I'm 25.
Okay.
I just turned 25 like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. So it would have been 2022.
Okay.
But then I did it took a little extra time because I switched majors.
Okay.
So I don't even know when I actually graduated, but I walked before I was actually officially done.
Okay.
So somewhere in that range.
Gotcha. Okay,
I should look on the degree, see what it says.
It doesn't matter anymore, right? Like I have mine sitting in my parents' house in
literally
my
never
old
seen
room.
it.
I feel like that's a date you should know, but probably not.
Yeah.
I don't value the thing all that much. It's a piece of paper.
Yeah. I mean, no,
I hope I never have to use it for anything.
Right.
Same.
Yeah. And I wouldn't trade my college experience for the world. Like, I loved it. I think it made me who I am today, personality-wise. Obviously, like, my love for photography and video grew even more in college, but you're right. Like, I didn't necessarily need to get that degree.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't value it all that much. And I also I definitely didn't get the traditional college experience.
No, you got fucked by COVID, and I feel so bad. I got out right before COVID hit. I graduated 2019, which is the last normal year anyone had ever.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of friends who were younger than me, and they were all telling me about, you know, how awful it was. They were like locked in their dorm rooms. They couldn't go anywhere. Like, I felt so awful. Like, I literally was just sick to my stomach for the kids who got their experience robbed from them. Like, it's just awful.
I don't even feel like it was robbed from. I think it was by choice. I didn't experience it because I chose to do community college, and then COVID hit. At the time, I was also running a landscaping business.
Oh, geez.
Which I thrived during COVID.
Okay.
Because all the classes went to online and nothing was really happening. That was a type of service that people weren't going to give up just because there was a virus in the air.
And it's all outside.
You need your grass cut. It's all outside. Got into like hardscapes, so patios, walkways.
Wow.
So during COVID, when classes were online and I could sort of take a step back from school.
Yep.
And that was still during the height of all that was when I was in engineering school still, which sucked. I hated it. Yeah, those years I probably made more money than I did after college.
Wow.
Which was
crazy.
interesting because then when I was actually sort of in college on a more normal level, once things calmed down, it was a funny dynamic. Like I was always busy. Everyone was just sitting around drinking and I couldn't fully relate.
What else was there
but
to
it was a
do?
really cool experience to have. Like I got the contrast. I had a friend. I never lived at school. Like I never planned to, just because I was trying to save money and everything. But I had a friend that ended up dropping out, and he lived in a house with like a bunch of other people I knew. He needed someone to sublet, so I subletted from him, did half a year there, ended up kind of getting to know the landlord, and then the group from the next year, which was my overlap year, one of them got an internship far away, so they needed someone to sublet. So I got a year of college experience.
There you go.
On campus, which I'm glad I had, but also I can't see the full value in it. It's not necessarily the most productive thing you can do with your life.
Yeah. And everybody has different opinions on college, but you know, we all seem to have got something out of our experience, whether it's educational or not.
Yeah, if anything, it's a nice period to not feel obligated. You could say, "Oh, I'm in school,"
Way less
and then you can go make
responsibilities.
videos in your free time instead of trying to do something that seems like an adult would do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I loved college. It was the best. So what do you do now? What kinds of projects do you work on? Kinds of clients, things like that?
Now, a lot of what I'm trying to focus on is the business branding aspect of things. I sort of made a transition, which I'm almost getting out of at this point, towards social media management, which it's a good business to be in because it is a needed thing.
It's something no one else wants to do.
It's something that no one else wants to do. I have a friend who's a business partner that handles the actual management side of things.
Oh, that's good.
And he was the one that was like, "Hey, I want to sort of pursue this. Can you do the content? I'll manage the posts, and we'll go in and kind of crush it with businesses because we can offer the whole package." And it worked well, but I've realized that I like the higher production value type of stuff. I don't like burning my brain out watching Instagram reels, trying to copy trends and stuff like that.
God, I would hate that.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
relate
God.
to that so much.
It's
it's exhausting.
I just can't do it. And I'm not the kind of person that I don't enjoy that type of content on social media. When I scroll, like my feed's usually like educational videos or things that are funny, but not the typical trends. And I just can't do it. So I've kind of pulled myself out of that. We've transitioned that more towards marketing, but also social media management for businesses that value the higher end content over the, I don't know how to describe it. Just
Quick,
the
trendy
mind
stuff.
numbing, quick, trendy stuff.
Yeah.
So that's felt a lot better to pull myself out of that. And then aside from that, focusing on the business branding side of things, as well as working on product-based stuff with Nick.
Yep.
We've done a bunch of that recently. Second shooting with him has been fun to get to play in the studio.
Second shooting though. It's like
Associate.
co-producing.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
co-producing, whatever you want to call it. It's
I
fun
just feel like
to
for
work
you,
together.
like second shooter is like almost an insult.
I mean, it depends on the circumstance. I don't take it as an insult, but you were the one that sort of pioneered the whole product based content thing. Not in general, but you were the one that shot
I
it
was the
first
first
before I
one.
did. Yeah. There's a couple people that beat you to the punch on that, but you kind of introduced it to me, and that's been pretty cool to to get into and just have another, I guess, stream of focus. I have trouble doing the same thing all the time. I just can't do that. It's not the way I was built. So I do like to have different avenues to go down so that every day doesn't look exactly the same. Yeah. But it's also nice to niche in and be able to get really good at certain things, which is, I think, why the product's so cool. Is now that we've done it a few times, knowing how to stage things well and learning little tricks about when we're dumping like chocolate sauce or something, we've figured out how to do things to make it look better and make less mess and be easier.
There's been multiple instances where like we're on the shoot and then we reference like 2 shoots ago, like, oh yeah, let's not do that again because we made that mistake already. We genuinely do learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. All the time. But because it is a creative pursuit still, I find it valuable to, if I was doing product stuff all the time, I think I might go crazy eventually. It would just get old like anything else. And I think you have to exercise the different aspects of creative thinking in different ways in order to maintain, I guess, progression and make sure you're not just staying in the same place.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's one of the things that I love about this field is that I'm doing something different every day. And even if you do niche down and say you're just doing product stuff, like you can do all sorts of different products. You're interacting with different people and different companies in different parts of the country. Like you guys, get shipped things from all over the country. So like, that's cool too. But I agree. I really like that I'm doing something different every day and working with different people and just coming in as an outsider and being able to look at a business or an organization and just seeing how I can like bring their story in like a different way.
Absolutely.
It's a good thing we're expanding.
Yeah.
Don't want to say anything too solid formal on the mic, but at least we're doing
exactly
stuff now. We're
working behind the scenes.
And to kind of go off of that, I think at the roots of it, the reason I enjoy this so much is because I get to learn about different things. I've always enjoyed business. I think that's just honestly maybe where if I had to determine like where my career path was, I lean more towards the business side of things. I enjoy learning about different businesses, figuring things out, seeing the best way to do things, making things more efficient. The photo video is like my creative side, which I have to express, and I sort of mix the two together. But at the roots of it, I think I like getting to not just focus on one business, but to go into one, figure out what they need to improve their marketing and sort of execute on that, learn about what they do. Like there's been so many different, both of you, we've all been in so many different businesses. Like I did a bunch of work for a chimney sweeping company. I didn't even know people still swept their chimneys. I thought that was sort of an outdated service, but I learned so much about it. And, all of a sudden I know all about that. Last weekend, I have a client that does work in the jewelry industry, and we went to the second largest jewelry show in the world, and I met like the diamond mob, basically the people who control the diamonds throughout the world.
Wow.
And I learned all about that, and it was cool. It was awesome. There's nothing more exciting than just going in and learning about what someone else does all day.
Yeah, you're always going somewhere interesting and meeting interesting people in this field. That's for sure. Yeah. One of my clients is Springfield Water and Sewer, and I was at Bondi's Island where they like clean the water, and I went into the trash room and like saw how much comes out of the sewers, and like it was one of those moments where I was like, this job really does take me to interesting places. But I love working with them. They're so awesome. But like something like that, we originally started just doing photos and like, some headshots for their employees and just action shots of their workers, doing what they do. But that's something you don't think about is like, where does your water come from? How does it get cleaned? Like it doesn't just magically appear out of your sink. your toilet doesn't just magically flush and like the water just goes somewhere. Like there's a process to it, and educating people on how that all works and like what you should flush versus what you shouldn't, and like how that could affect your home and like back up all your pipes. Like that's stuff that, you know, should be made like public knowledge for people. So like we're kind of working on some social media content to get that information out there. But it's like, I never thought 5 years ago that I would be doing videos about Bondi's Island and where your
Garbage
water
coming out
goes.
of water.
Yeah.
Wastewater. Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, it's very interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some of like your favorite things that you've worked on recently? Like, do you have any projects that stand out?
Ooh, projects that stand out recently. That's tough.
I mean, that jewelry store one sounds kind of cool. The jewelry.
I mean, that one was cool. That's sort of an ongoing project. The show itself was an interesting experience. Got to go out to Las Vegas. You know, not the kind of place I spent a lot of time.
Okay.
It was an interesting place,
Yeah.
to say the least. But in the show itself, it was incredible to see the whole industry, because not only was it, you know, jewelry, like there were just loose diamonds and stuff and gold and all of that, which is an interesting transaction to experience. A lot of like cash deals. You know, the way that things are done, it's almost exactly what you would expect, to the point where you wouldn't expect it.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, people really do just walk up and buy, you know, a ton of value in these things and then walk away with it or whatever,
Yep.
or place an order.
It's crazy.
It's just an interesting industry in the way it operates, but also seeing all the equipment that supports it. It's a trade show, so it's not just about the product itself, but equipment for making the product or testing the product or doing other things with it, softwares
Yeah.
that you know, jewelry stores might use as a CRM.
Okay. See, I would have never thought of that.
Yeah, all those
Yeah.
different types of things are there. And, you know, I can firsthand talk to the CEOs or owners of these businesses, and had a lot of conversations, just general conversations with people, where we sort of got into, you know, things that they were navigating in their businesses, which are such high level problems in comparison to what any of us could possibly be dealing with, because the numbers are just, the scales are crazy.
Yeah.
It's really neat to be able to have those conversations with people. So that project was cool just for that.
Yeah. And getting to travel, that's kind of cool too. I don't usually
it's always
travel
fun.
past New England for clients.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. I mean, it always adds a little bit of complication,
Yeah.
but like, I'm young. I have no excuse not to travel. If I'm getting paid to do it, that's all the more of a reason to do it. And it's just fun to experience different places. But so that was a cool project. A lot of the product stuff recently I've really enjoyed, just because it takes my brain to a different place, getting to experiment with things. And aside from, I feel like that's most recently the coolest projects that I've worked on. But it is fun. Like, once in a while, something really cool will come up. Like, one time I got to do a photo shoot with Mike Tyson.
I saw that on your, well, I was creeping on you, I think, on Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Or maybe LinkedIn. When did you post that?
I don't know. It wasn't like crazy recently, but
yeah, I was definitely creeping.
it that's fine.
I was like, I need to do some research before I have it.
Yeah.
No, I remember seeing that. I was like, holy shit,
That's
that's Mike
But
Tyson.
Cool.
yeah, like I always say, famous people love me because I am so uncultured that I usually don't know who they are, or I don't know enough about them to know how significant they are. Mike Tyson was one. I knew the name, but I just didn't have an understanding of how big he actually was. So when it came up, I was like, oh, okay, like,
So I'm
Cool.
gonna film this guy.
yeah, I'm gonna
Sick.
film
Nice,
this guy. But then it was explained to me that he was like kind of a big deal.
Kinda.
And I was like, okay. And it was like a very last second thing too. Like, we ended up like overnighting light tubes and everything because they had a certain look they were going for. And I was like, okay, well, you need pavo tubes if you want to have that look, because like that's what's in the background of your example photos. But it was a fun project after the fact, getting to work with him, getting to work with his team. And I feel like there's been others sort of similar to that, but it's definitely not every day that someone like him comes into the scene. And it was all just kind of a coincidence because a client that I'd worked with was doing a project with him and they needed someone to take photos and I was their guy.
That's awesome.
But
that's so cool.
Yeah, that's like half the fun of this is you just once in a while something cool comes up.
Yeah.
Damn, I
What
want
was
to
he
do
like?
something for a famous person.
He was he's a super nice guy.
I've heard he's really nice.
Which I did my research and it seems like there are like different opinions on the internet as there are with anyone else. But so I took everything with a grain of salt. But as like a person to talk to, he'll talk about anything.
Okay.
I had a great experience with him. Everyone was all afraid. And that's again, like famous people love me because I guess I just don't know how to act like they're famous or whatever. Like I'm respectful to everyone, but no, they were all afraid of him. They thought they were going to get punched or something if they talked to him the wrong way. And I just talked to him like a person.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they are just people.
Yeah. And that's what most famous people want to have normal conversations because they don't get to have those every day.
Yeah.
And they don't want to have to act like they're on, putting on a show or whatever. Yeah. And, I think I've done a decent amount I've had a decent amount of interactions with a lot of people like in music, like artists. And then, there's a film festival that I volunteer for pretty much annually at this point. And through that, there's been a lot of bigger names that we've had to, do interviews with. They're just small little things. And I never know who they are.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
So I think they take to me.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I'm just uncultured and that's the way it's going to be.
That's
and
okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. If anything, I'm sure they appreciate the fact that you're, like you said, you're just human.
Just a normal guy.
Yeah. I am curious to ask you guys, I guess both, can you tell me like a little bit of, I've seen the behind the scenes of your product shoots. Can you tell me a little bit of like what the dynamic looks like when you're doing a product shoot together? I'm sure it differs by client, but like what does that kind of look like for you guys?
Okay. I definitely want to hear both sides.
Yeah.
I mean,
I kind of want to hear you talk first, but I think there's like there's definitely certain things that we've formed into our dynamic.
No, because we're from day one, we made a point to like be pretty transparent with each other. Like we've both come from previous partnerships that may or may not have worked out. So like we know how partnerships can fall apart. So we wanted to do this the right way. So since day one, we've been really good about just open communication, everything.
Good. That's good.
Actually, I don't even know if you know this, but, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. Basically, for like almost a year, I was like, this is the only word I can use, like grooming you. Because like, probably since the day I met you, I was like, yeah, I could see him working with me. Let me like target that guy. Like I've had conversations with Alex about it. Like he just knows since pretty much day one.
Yeah.
So like the couple of restaurant things we did, we probably did a couple other random things like the magician thing. Like all of that was me like essentially like, because I had never worked with you before that. So I was like, let me see like how you actually work, how you compose yourself with like clients and stuff. And obviously how good you are at like camera operating and shit like that. So after I got a good sense of like, okay, yeah, you know what you're doing. It was how do I say this without getting too specific? I guess I can just say it, the cookie project. That was like the big one. And I was like, okay, I think I told you pretty much that I wanted you to like co-produce this with me. And that was almost like the final test. Oh my God. Like this is I kid you not. Dude, I hope it doesn't sound bad, but like in my head, this is how I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, let me see if I give him like full responsibility here to like essentially just help co-produce this, how is he going to handle this instead of just simply being a second shooter? like introducing you more to like the producer roles and stuff. And you were fine. And then literally that night at the place, we had the conversation. We were like cleaning up our mess and like washing dishes and shit. And I was like, so today went well, right? Like, want to just keep doing this?
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's essentially how it went.
Yeah.
And it took a few, weeks to like nail everything together, like put the pieces together and figure out how it's going to work. But then, do you remember the first product we did together? Because I don't.
I don't recall which one was the first product, but I will say, like, from as soon as we started, like, you had me second shoot on, I don't remember if was the first thing the restaurant shoot
in Concord, I think.
In Concord. Like we worked together well because I think we fill each other's gaps well, as far as like there's certain things that, you're crazy good with the pre-production and sort of keeping things organized. There's other things that where, my strengths lie more. And after a couple shoots, I was like, okay, like this works pretty well because there's always someone that's kind of thinking of the next thing, it seems
exactly,
like.
Yeah.
But the next things that we're thinking of are different things.
Even literally yesterday on the phone when you suggested the like beach and charcuterie board, I was like, freaking genius. Like, it was something I would have never thought of. And I was like, oh, that is perfect.
But it's nice because you almost get to turn your mind off 50% of the time.
Yep.
And just, focus on the easy thoughts, which is good. And I think, some second shooting situations, if you want to call it, are not like that, where it's very much like, do this, do that.
Right.
But like I don't know, we fell into a pretty good rhythm.
That's why, like, when we initially said like second shooter, I didn't necessarily want to call you that because I don't think of you as a second shooter. I think of you as like just a partner, essentially. Like, you essentially do everything I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on that. I don't mind the term, but it's not offensive to me.
No.
I think you're actually a better food styler than I am. That's why I said that. Like, it just so happens you're usually just the one who cuts up all the fruit, but like you arrange it all in a better way than I probably would.
Yeah.
I'm
usually one that chooses the bags too.
Oh yeah,
it's like a product that gets crinkly.
Choosing the bag, choosing the right cans. I essentially, what I've done in the past is I will take like my swing at it and I'll like lay out like, okay, here's like 5 or 6 that I think are good, and then he'll go in and fine tune like, okay, out of those 5, these 2 are the only good ones.
Yeah. It's just kind of funny. Like we'd spend a ton of time doing that, and it's one of the more important parts of the whole process. I would almost argue.
Oh yeah. Such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, we're good at collaborating on that, making sure that, okay, we agree, like this is the best can and it's going to get used in everything now from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess like overall, like I think it probably didn't start this way. It probably started off like me more doing a lot of like the pre-production work, and then once I finished, I just like showed it to you. I think that's probably how it started, but now it's pretty collaborative from the get-go. Like literally the project we just had a call with yesterday, literally as soon as I got off the call with the client, I called him to be like, okay, here's the project. Let's start brainstorming. Let's put the mood board together, like as a team, both of us. Like, he has the link, we can both add to it. So it's no longer just me putting the pre-production mood boards and stuff together. It's collaborative. Same with shot lists. It used to just be me. Now the last 2, I think he's helped with shot listing as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I will say, I think I see you as the pre-production guy in the sense that you're the one that's usually like, you keep things in line as far as pre-production goes. He is so organized.
Yeah.
And that's a skill that I just don't have to that extent. And it really comes across well. So I embrace that, and
yeah, I don't mind doing
you
it.
You do a killer job at like creating the mood board itself, and I can go in there and throw stuff on there and put shot lists in order, and like I'm fine
building
at
those
that.
melanote boards is fun for me. Like I just like visually displaying all the information.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
so
glad that you
helpful to have
have fun with that. Yeah.
It's
And
so
sometimes
helpful.
it is fun,
Is that
but-
not your favorite thing to do?
No, it's definitely not my favorite thing to
No,
do.
neither.
I like coming up with the ideas. The shot listing part I can get into.
Well,
Because
so
that's
you brought
fun.
in AI, which was like also a kind of a game changer because I like to tie visuals to the
Oh,
shot list,
yeah.
just like so I know instead of just saying like, oh, top down shot of so and so in text, I can actually show like a visual example of kind of
So
exactly
what
what
do
I'm
you
looking for.
use for that?
And that was something that I was just like, might as well give this a try.
I was just
Because
using,
we're
like,
always
Pinterest to
Yeah, we
find
were all
stuff.
Yeah.
going on Google and Pinterest and stuff, and being like trying to find an image that portrays what's in our mind.
And it's hard.
But we can
it's
just
very hard.
go in and create
Generate your own
an
thing.
AI image that basically is what we want it to be.
Yeah, ChatGPT does that now. Is that what you use?
I use the gosh, I don't even know what they call it. The Microsoft one.
Was it
It's
Gemini?
the Microsoft one.
Okay.
Um,
There's so many out there now.
it's-
I'm like, I don't even know.
I don't know. It doesn't. The only reason I use it for that is because it doesn't give me hassle when I create images, and it
Right.
creates them pretty consistently and,
Okay.
and works. And it's just for a shot list, so it doesn't
Right.
have to be perfect.
Okay.
ChatGPT I use for anything text based.
Yeah.
That is like my personal assistant.
Yes.
Yeah, like
it's controversial, but
We
I
have a
use
good
it,
relationship.
Yeah, I use it probably once a day at least.
I'm using it more often, yeah.
Yeah.
But like the products on the table, we shot listed that using AI images.
Nice. Yeah. That's great. That's a great idea.
But it's great also to have the consistency, especially if the client eventually sees, as opposed to having, a bunch of different brands on there, like competitors, and it just being
Yeah,
like
'cause
copy
they'll-
shots.
Yes.
It looks
see our
nice to
shot
have
lists.
some cohesive aspects of it. And if you just keep asking it things, it usually gives you, it'd be like the same
It'll learn
people
you,
in them
yeah.
or whatever.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, if you do it right.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I guess I don't know. From your side of things, like I don't even know how to say it. Like, just like, what is your experience working with me? Hopefully, it's not horrible.
No, it's been great. Like I said, we bounce ideas off of each other well. There's, I think, a lot of my weaknesses you sort of fill in.
You've always been the
it-
pricing guy. Even before we worked together, I would always come to you for pricing.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I am good at that.
Well, it's the engineering brain. You got a math brain.
I think it's the engineering brain.
Lucky
and
shit,
then,
because I have zero math skills. None.
I never loved math. There were certain things in math that I enjoyed doing, but as a whole, like as things got higher and higher level, I stopped enjoying it. But I guess I must have some math brain. I think it was a lot of, and I say it to Nick all the time, like when we're figuring something out, a lot of the, I guess, business skills that I have, I think came from landscaping. And that's like a funny business because it's these tasks that seem pretty rudimentary, like anyone can understand it. And when you treat it as a business, you have to really change the perspective on things, and you have to be stern. You have to know your value, because you can fight to the bottom all day. There's always Chuck in a truck out there somewhere willing to cut grass for real cheap. But so if you want to make money with it, yeah, that's what I used to always say.
That's hilarious.
That really took me out. I think it hit us both at the same time. We were like, oh, he just said that.
Yeah, no, but there's always somebody that just is like, oh yeah, I can cut grass, and they'll go and do it, and they won't be profitable at doing it, but they'll still feel like they're making money, and they're doing it on the side or something, so they're fine. But if you want to do well in that business, you have to be going after the client that's willing to pay more than they could elsewhere, and they have to be willing to pay that because you're doing things for them that other people aren't. Even if that's just giving them peace of mind or some sort of abstract thing, you're more professional, whatever it is.
Right.
You have to focus on those things in business in order to actually be profitable. And I think I learned a lot from that, and it still applies here.
Yeah.
Which especially with pricing,
Yeah, it makes you more successful today. I wasn't always on my own. I worked for other people before I worked for myself, and I learned a lot about what not to do. And that is
Right.
also valuable. Like every experience, whether you were unhappy or not, teaches you something. And you just have to like take bits and pieces from every experience you have, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just know with pricing, like there's been so many times where it's like I would say a number and it was like too low. Pretty much anytime I would say a number, he would say a number that's higher than mine. And then I'm like, there's been a couple times where I was almost willing to, go for a lower price just to like make sure they said yes. And then he would be like, oh, probably shouldn't do that. We should be getting this much. And I was like, you're so right. Ignore me. Forget what I'm saying. You're right.
Well, it's funny, but it's like in video, it's very different because you can usually just push through and get things done. But like I've been standing in a muddy hole thinking this was priced too low. This sucks. We have to finish the project still. And like it burns it into you.
Yeah.
It's like once you've done that a couple times, you don't want to, the next project, you're going to make sure you're making money. And if you're not, if you aren't confident that you are, then sorry, find someone else to do it.
Yes. Yeah. Like when I was standing in that trash room, nearly gagging on the smell, I was like,
am I getting paid enough to do this? But it's okay to say no to things.
Right.
And that's a lesson that everyone learns and that you obviously know too. But
this will never be the cheapest option. I will say that confidently.
Yeah. I never want to be the cheapest option unless I tried to pursue some specific business. Like almost went that route with the social media management because if you're just managing posts, you can kind of try to be the one that makes everything so efficient that you're still making a ton of money, but you're the cheapest option.
Yep.
But in photo video, that's not where I want to be because I actually want to be putting effort into things and making them turn out well, which I think is where everyone in this room stands.
Yeah. And not only making sure the product turns out great and like looks great quality wise, everything's good, but also like making sure that it's going to do what the client needs it to do. Cause like you can produce a video and it just like sits on their website, but like, is it accomplishing a goal? Are they like getting new customers from that? Are they getting new like brand awareness? Like making sure that it actually accomplishes the mission. Cause you can like, hand them the video and be like, all right, cool. See ya. But like, did it accomplish what they hired you to do and like their hopes for that? So it's tough. Pricing is like the hardest part for me. It's never going to be easy for me.
I mean, it's always tough, like second guessing and trying to figure out how much you really want something. My mindset now is to price, slightly high if anything, if I don't have a number that I'm firm on, and there's always opportunity to renegotiate, have a give and a take. That's the other thing is if someone indicates that they want the price to be lower, I try to tell myself to never just straight up lower the price. There always has to be a give. Yeah. So some sort of deliverable has to be reduced, even if it's insignificant, even if it's the same exact amount of effort on my end to create the lower set of deliverables versus the higher one. There needs to be some sort of perception so that it doesn't devalue the work that's being done. And the goal with everyone is to have them coming back. You want to do more projects for them. You don't want them to think they can always just negotiate the numbers down.
Yes.
Because like taking 25 photos versus like taking 15 photos, there's zero effort change. Like it's the same.
Yeah. I mean, it basically just means you're choosing different ones at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you're still going to take that many photos.
Yes.
But to them, it's like, 15 to 25 down to 15. Like, okay, we can work with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense. Totally. Yeah. Should we ask if he has any horror stories?
Oh.
Yeah, I guess.
We kind of sometimes ask guests that, but I know it's hard to put you
Trying
on the
to
spot.
think. I can't think of like I guarantee there's definitely horror stories.
I feel like we all try to block them out of our minds at a certain point.
It is honestly
I don't know if I can
hard
answer
for me
that
to
on the
think about
spot.
them.
It's
because
hard.
I mean, I have one, but I've already said it on the podcast. Like I only have one that I can like, actually remember.
What was yours? Or you don't have to say it because you've reminded
okay.
me.
We can repeat.
Okay, yeah, I can say it. So it was basically I was shooting an event for a client who I already shot one before. Like I knew her, like we were very friendly. And then just so happened at the event, there was someone else who was like, not like putting it on, but like another kind of higher up person in this event. And they also asked me to do some content for them. And I was like, well, I'm already going to be there. Sure. So it was like a separate deliverable thing, like full separate contracts and everything. And they asked me second. So like, I probably shouldn't have done this, but in my head, I was totally prioritizing the first person. Plus I was like very close with them. So I was like, it's so easy for me to capture what I need to for that person. And it's not like I did a bad job, at least in my opinion. I still got everything that we talked about. We had a plan for the second person. I mean, I met them. They even like toured me around the place because I never been before. So like prior to the event, me and her kind of like got to know each other a little bit. We talked about what was, expected, what we needed to capture. I was like, okay, easy enough. Like it's pretty much the same stuff. I can kind of just double use some of the other stuff. And they were okay with me doing that. Like I confirmed with them. I was like, if I give like you guys like the same like shot in like the same reel, like, is that okay? And they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. So I was like, cool. Then fast forward to after I gave it to her, she didn't like it and basically was like, this is not what I asked for. And I was like, what do you mean? This is exactly what you asked for. I don't know. It was like more of, it wasn't like super, super polished reels. It was more just like vignettes of like moments. But like that's initially what we talked about. So I was like, I thought I was delivering it perfectly. Turns out it was not what she was wanting. She got kind of upset. Ended up giving her a refund, not full refund, but that was the only time I ever had to refund someone.
Well,
It's the worst.
yeah. I mean, I feel like there's always little things like that.
Actually, wait,
up.
I have another one.
Okay, go for it. Fire away.
So I told you this is actually false. I refunded someone a second time. 2 times.
Really?
Only. I swear. I swear.
Okay, sure.
I mentioned this to you, but I don't know if you remember. So it's honestly a similar problem, like expectation misalignment, which I don't blame myself because I did take the time to go over everything. They just clearly weren't understanding what we were talking about, even though there was clear visuals of what to expect. So I don't think I did anything wrong, honestly. This was for I don't want to say the exact type of thing, but it was like, I'll say it. It was a coffee shop, but also a pizza place, but also a ice cream place.
Okay. So they got a lot going on.
It was like a big building and like one side was like a cafe and then the other side was like a little restaurant with like one counter for pizza, one counter for ice cream. Very weird. Apparently it's a thing. They were like, oh no, pizza and ice cream is totally a combo. And I was like, where?
Right.
Anyway, it was just supposed to be social media content. So I was like, easy. It was low-key, a pretty solid retainer. I had him for 3 months. I was like, okay, this is easy. I show up once a month, pop over to the cafe in the morning, film some coffee stuff, pop over to the restaurant in the afternoon, film some food, ice cream stuff. Easy enough. Did it day one. And the owner, the like general manager person was like all there with me, helping me set everything up, seeing what I was doing, literally assisting me, holding stuff for me. So like they were a part of it the entire time. I gave them the content and they were like, what is this? And I was like, what do you mean? Like you helped me do this. The month 1 was in December and we shot fairly early on. And so they were like, oh, we should do some holiday drinks. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. So in the moment, they made a little peppermint thing and, we got that and I gave it to them. And then when I delivered it to them, even though it was their freaking idea, I might be getting too specific here, but I don't care.
That's okay.
They were like, what is this? Like, we can't even use this anymore because like Christmas was like a week ago. And I was like, this was your idea. Like,
Yeah. Oh, God.
So then they were like, and then they expected our high-end studio stuff, which I did not say we were going to do. I was like, how do you expect us to do all of that? Like green screen, paper backdrop, and when you saw me doing everything and you were like happy to help me in the moment,
Yeah.
and you expected it to look like that, like how does that align?
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like people don't align their expectations with reality, or they don't ask the right questions up front.
Yeah.
And it's like you'd think there should be communication there, but if someone doesn't express what they really want and they just kind of leave it up to the creative direction that you want to take it in, and then you take it the wrong way, it's a tough situation.
I don't know. Normally I like the creative control.
Yeah,
but
that's usually the most fun you can have on a project is when the client is willing to
but then it comes
give
back
up
and they're
control.
like, oh wait, no, we're actually really picky. We
Yeah.
don't like this.
Well, and you're so clear in your pre-production. Like, there's no doubt that you didn't make it very
No, yeah,
specifically
it just blew my
clear.
mind that like they were literally assisting me all day shooting,
Yeah.
seeing exactly how I was filming it, what we were shooting, and they expected this high end like green screen backdrop
Yeah.
stuff. I was like, where did you see me put up a paper backdrop
Yeah.
anywhere?
Yeah. Yep. That's tough.
It's a tough thing, but it goes to the client. When you find a client that's actually good to work with, like pays quickly, is
Understands the
reasonable in
value.
all ways,
Yep.
hold on to them.
Yeah.
They're like a good one,
Yeah.
and they're not necessarily easy to find.
No.
I know, RIP that one beverage company that I was still so sad about.
Oh, what did they do?
I don't want to say it out loud, but
You
know.
obviously don't say the name. But
You know.
Oh. I know it's
oh,
tough.
that one.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah. And so many people just don't realize how much it takes behind the scenes. Like, the shoot is one small fraction of the part of the process. And it's so much more that goes into it before, during, and after. And they don't see it, but at least if they can understand the value of it, I think that's like step one. If I've worked with plenty of clients who, I'll explain everything to them and they're like, oh, okay, like, yeah, we'll move forward. And then, it turns out afterwards they might not be fully happy with the product, or they might have a ton of edits. And it always seems to be like the most low budget clients who have like all of these things to say. And some people are just never going to fully get on board with it. And I've learned to try to like pick up some of those flags in the beginning so that I don't need to move forward with those clients if I feel like I'm seeing those signs.
I mean, the exact opposite example, it kind of just happened. Like the beverage company that I had a call with yesterday, I was telling you, like the first campaign that we did with them was like a huge success and like
Major hit. Like,
and
Yeah.
they let us have full creative control.
Yeah.
They essentially like, here's our pack of, bottles. We just need something that, does very vague, like does this and this, like give us something. And we're like, okay, we can do that. Gave it to them. They had like 1 or 2 minor tweaks that were like revised in like 5 minutes. I was like, okay, easy enough. Here you go. They said their campaign was super successful.
Nice.
And then they're trying to basically run it back to do something else for a different campaign. So that was an example of, creative control, and like
Paid
it
off.
worked. Like they
Yeah.
let us do whatever we want, and it turned out to be successful.
yeah. And you touched on the lower paying clients typically have the most to say. And I think
It's
there's
funny how
a
that
multitude
works.
of reasons for that. Maybe because that small amount of money seems like a lot more money to them. So they feel like they need more input. That's something I've learned to try to avoid. And that one also probably comes from the landscaping background.
Yeah.
As dumb as it sounds, someone who's willing to pay a lot to cut their grass is never going to contact you. The person that wants the good deal is going to check in and make sure you're showing up and everything. And
Yep.
those are not the types of clients that I want to deal with.
No.
Right.
We want the
want
higher end
trust.
clients that are willing to put the trust into you and know that you're going to give them a good product and care about the work that you're doing because you're getting paid well for it. It's a good lesson,
Yeah.
I guess.
And it won't be like that all the time. Like in the beginning, I was taking every freaking client that would, show some interest in, like, I was really thankful for every single person and God, I dealt with some nightmares, but like, in the beginning, you just take what you can get. And, now I have the luxury of, obviously I've learned a lot. My quality has improved. I've improved a lot of my systems and processes and all of that. So like I can start saying no to people. But like you do have to kind of like pay your dues in that way in the beginning and just kind of grind it out.
I want to ask actually, because we said no to a lot of people.
Yep.
Have you regretted, like, is there one that we said no to that you wish we didn't?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, maybe there's one that in hindsight would have been awesome, but I don't necessarily think so, because usually when I'm firm in the standpoint of saying no, it's because of those types of red flags where it's generally a problem with the person that we're communicating directly with. If it's just a budgeting issue, I feel like I'm usually trying to fight to lower deliverables and,
I feel like that's
get
been
in the
our
door
main
with them.
thing, though. The reason we said no the most is probably straight up budget.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, because you're right. Budget is usually what it comes down to, but there's also a threshold. There is a get out of bed price,
Right.
just for, especially with product-based stuff where it's either in a studio or in a space that's often rented or with models that are getting paid. There's a lot of just upfront cost to doing those types of shoots, the setup, the pre-production, even the time that goes into that. When a company comes along that just doesn't have enough budget, it's hard to pull something together for them.
Yep.
I think one thing we have talked about to try to get in the door with some of those brands is letting them know that, hey, feel free to send something out and maybe we can grab a couple shots of it maybe when we're on a different shoot. We haven't done a ton of that.
I mean, I
but
still
we've
have like
done it a few
3
times.
products sitting on that shelf that I've been sent and I haven't done anything with.
Yeah, it's tough because you also have to be careful you don't want to send one brand a picture of their product that's in a shoot that you were getting paid for to do for another brand. So it has to be a situation where you can't really tell.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's really the only thing we can do for some of these companies, and then just hope that they grow to the point where they have a budget to spend.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, because I won't say the specific one, but because there's been a couple, but I do wish we did a pickleball paddle.
I do wish we did that specifically
There's been a
because
couple.
pickleball is
For some
growing
reason,
so much.
every brand we work with has a tie to pickleball.
It's weird.
Like they're
It's
either
really
sponsoring a
ridiculous.
tournament or like
It's
they
so
have
ridiculous.
a specific beverage that's tied to the sport.
Fucking pickleball.
It's crazy. Like everyone we've worked with has some tie to pickleball.
It's huge
I
right
still
now.
haven't tried it.
I've never played.
I played it.
You're gonna have to hit a pickleball court.
No, if you want to play, I would dead ass play.
I wonder why it's gotten so popular. Like, where
I
did
think
it
because
start?
everyone can do it. They say that young people can play and
Well,
have
it
fun,
used to be an
and
old people
can do
thing,
it.
and then the millennials made it popular
I'm dead.
because they
That's
took it to like
crazy.
another level. Like it was supposed to be like a slow thing, like old people could play, but us young people
guess it's
turned it
not
into like an
anymore.
extreme sport.
An extreme sport. Pickleball is not an extreme sport. Please,
man.
please.
Look, when you
Yeah.
see people going at it, like you'll understand. They go hard.
Yeah, I've yet to really witness that, but someday I will.
Yeah.
But you're right. That was one that
That was the one that got away from
I
me.
think would have been kind of cool to do.
It was only because this one specific brand was like, how do I say this? Like a lot of the people in this industry go one of two ways. They either associate themselves with a professional athlete and like they essentially run all their marketing through that person and be like, look at us, like clout through this one person. Or in the world of pickleball, there's a lot of tournaments. So they either like sponsor these tournaments and that's how they get their marketing out. This one company was like not doing those things and wanted to do like lifestyle stuff, which is right up our alley. And it's like great because I don't want to screw those other things. I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal with tournaments and athletes and shit. So lifestyle, that's great. It just didn't work out though.
Yeah. That
well, you
one-
never know.
Yeah, it could have been a terrible project. We just don't know.
Right.
That's the thing. You have to be willing to make those sacrifices and just move on and
On to the
hope that
next.
something better comes along.
Yep.
But you're right. That would have been a fun one.
Because we like mentally planned out some stuff too. Like we
Yeah,
were like,
we had a whole plan.
we have some courts that look really nice. We know exactly where we can go.
Yeah, we were going to rent like a full court.
We looked at the prices
at
and
a
everything.
resort.
Yeah.
A beautiful resort, which was pretty cool.
Like Owl's Nest. We were gonna rent their courts.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're not that expensive.
Well, you never know. It could come back.
Yeah,
Could
you
come
never
back.
know. Or another pickleball brand.
Yeah, any
They're
pickleball
popping up
brands
all
out
over
there.
the place.
Hit us up.
Hit 'em up.
Hit us up. We're looking to do something. Give you a good deal for the first project. Just so we can shoot a pickleball paddle.
Yeah.
I'll be your BTS person. I want to be a fly on the wall for that.
You know, we actually have a BTS guy coming for this upcoming shoot.
Nice. Good. It's always good to have.
It is. It's nice to just have more hands in general. Mm-hmm. Like the one we did. I guess I can call it the cookie shoot.
Yeah.
We had Sam, which
He was
You've all
BTS,
met.
but he was also PA.
yeah, he
Yeah.
came kind
And
of
model,
for
right?
And
for
model, yeah.
BTS and vibes, I guess. But he was so helpful.
Yeah.
Just having someone there. We were up north at a cabin, like a A-frame Airbnb, and like some of the shots involved shooting around a fire, and just to have someone
Oh, I
to be able
totally
to
forgot about that.
like,
Yeah.
hey, can you? I mean, he was more than willing to help. He was incredibly
basically
helpful,
stood out
but he was
there
like,
for
yeah, I'll
half
go
an
out.
hour building the fire.
Yeah, I'll go
while we
start
were
the
chilling
fire.
inside.
That's amazing.
And especially we had models involved. It was tough to just walk away from the models and be like, give us a
BRB.
minute.
Yeah,
We're going to
we
go
wanted
build
to
the
keep
fire.
them warm inside
Yeah.
and entertained, so we stayed with them.
Yeah.
And we were shooting at the same time. It wasn't like we were just sitting there, but
Yeah.
he was out, getting the next thing ready. And, that allowed us to, everything went way more efficiently.
Yeah.
We could just go from one thing to the next and, small stuff like that.
Man, the logistics
Moving
of that
lights,
shoot was like a
holding things.
nightmare, honestly.
Yeah, but it really wasn't that bad.
It turned out
We
to be
got it
fine,
done.
but yeah.
But you're right. It could have been a total nightmare because we were shooting so much all at once in a fairly small space.
Yeah, it was not ideal. We made it work.
But yet it was fine. I thought it was fine in the end.
Yeah, but clearly not good enough.
Yeah, I don't know. That puzzles
that's
me.
just how I always think about it. Because like in the moment, all guys were saying like, no, like this is great and all, and I wasn't disagreeing. I was like, yeah, I don't think the content we've got is bad, but I just knew in the moment it wasn't going to be good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's goes back to like
Which is
stretching a
sad to
budget.
say, but it's like
if we had more than we only had one production day for that.
yeah.
If we had 2 production days, it
And
could
it was
have
a long
easily
day.
been
Like,
twice.
we were
as
shooting
good.
for like a full 8
yeah,
hours.
that's
Yeah.
exhausting.
We had a
That's
4-hour gap for shooting in the morning. We took an hour for lunch, and then we had a second 4-hour gap in the
Yeah.
afternoon. So it
Which
was a lot.
realistically we shot longer than that because we were doing stuff before and after.
Yeah.
That was our 2 model blocks.
Yeah, it was probably like 10 hours of shooting.
Yeah, so we had 2
Wow.
separate model blocks with 4 models total. We had a cabin that had been rented. It was far away or far enough away that it was a little bit of
It
drive
was
for
a hike.
everyone. That was a situation where there's only so much budget, and we did as much as we possibly could with that budget, I think. And ultimately, I guess you're right. The content that came out of it, it was good.
I agree.
Especially for what we were working with.
I don't know. I just knew the client's expectations.
I think their expectations were higher than
They should
they should have been for that budget.
Yeah.
I like what we did for that budget was kind of impressive.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't union work. We were moving.
But yeah, they have since moved on, and that's okay.
Yeah.
They're not all gonna work out. That's the
Yeah,
tough
they don't all
part.
work out. And
Yeah.
that's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
Especially with now I think we're almost competing with like influencers and people that are willing to do things just to have products sent out to them, because then they feel important to put a video on their Instagram. The whole micro influencer thing is so big right now. Brands are realizing that it's more profitable to send their product to someone that doesn't have very many followers, and have them post it, especially like the really small level people. It doesn't cost the brand really anything to work with them, and they end up getting a better return than working with a massive influencer.
Yeah.
Hard to navigate with like a lot of the outreach I've done. I've gotten so many people that like reply to me assuming I just want product to do like an influencer thing. And it's like I have to say no and explain like, no, like the reason I'm trying to reach you is XYZ.
Yeah.
And it usually doesn't pan out. If their initial thought was like influencer, it's hard to get them out of that mindset.
Yeah.
My best friend Kiana works at Shark Ninja, and her job specifically is to find influencers and hire them to use their products and make videos.
That's cool.
Crazy. Like, it's a whole job now, and it's so fascinating because, you know, she works so hard to find influencers of, you know, she'll like text us in the group chat, in our like college friends group chat, and be like, I'm looking for this type of influencer, like XYZ. If any of you follow this kind of person, like send them my way. It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
And they get
Lee
paid
started
so
doing
much
that.
money to make like one post. Alex Earl is huge. Like to make like one post, they get thousands and like millions of dollars. It's crazy.
It is crazy. But that's, I think, is what the industry is moving away from, is those really high ticket posts.
Yeah.
Now it's moving towards how cheap can we do this by using, like finding people that are in that middle ground where they're not famous. They just have a little bit of a following.
Yeah. Local restaurants are doing that a lot.
Yeah. A lot of, I mean, the other day I was on a call with someone and they were looking to, they essentially wanted user generated content, but they wanted it to be slightly more elevated. They wanted to have more of the control, which part of me disagrees with that in general. Like if it's user generated content, shouldn't it be the user?
Right.
But I was like, yeah, we could produce videos that highlight the product, and kind of gave them numbers on that. And their response is like, oh, we were hoping to spend this much per video. And what they were trying to spend per video was just so incredibly low to produce anything.
Yeah.
Like $100.
Yeah. But they're getting videos for that from other people. But what we need to take away from that is, let's just make our content better, focus on the people that are willing to pay for
I mean, that's how I've always
really
thought.
good stuff.
I'm just leaning to the quality.
Yeah. Quality is where we have to,
That's where we win.
Stay. Yeah.
Yep.
It's the only place we win.
Yep. You're right.
And it's definitely a tricky balance. But
it's not like a UGC person could do the product videos that we do.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Like I say this to you all the time. The stuff we do should take us longer than one day. We cram it into one day sometimes, but in theory, this should be like a 3 to 4 day thing. And we spend like hours on one shot and then we move on. It's like 99% of what we do is setting things up.
Yep.
And then we hit record for 5 seconds and then we move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And hope you get it on the first try. So you don't have to do it
usually
again.
we don't.
We don't.
And then we do safeties. But I mean, there's also been times where that's another kind of unique struggle to the product stuff is we've started telling people now how many of each product to send, but they still screw it up most of the time.
I don't get why it's like in the email we like
outline
say
exactly how many
we need, and for some reason they just don't.
And we even give them a range so that it's like minimum, maximum.
Yep.
They don't even hit the minimum.
Still screw it up.
Oh God.
It like we had a brand recently that they didn't send us the minimum of what we needed, but they did send us like a whole bunch of product. It was just a bunch of product that we didn't need.
Oh God.
It's like, okay, so you weren't worried about budgeting. It's not like you didn't want to send us a lot of product.
Yeah.
You weren't worried about giving it to us.
You just blatantly ignored what we said.
Yeah, we just completely got not what we needed.
Oh God.
But so that causes situations where it's like, okay, we have one shot at this. Mm-hmm. This is the only one we get to
Which
like
I
open
hate.
a product or whatever. And it's a little intense.
Like even previously we had 3 cans of a certain beverage, and like even 3 I felt stressed about.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Like I was like,
No, when you're having to open it and stuff, it's absolutely not enough. So it ends up taking longer because you can't do multiple takes.
You can't fuck it up.
Get it right the first time.
Yeah. That's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have the patience to do what you guys do. I'm not a patient person.
I don't even know if it's patience.
I was going to say the same thing. I don't know if it is patience.
It definitely is a little bit.
I mean, we definitely get impatient.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
We get frustrated a lot. I don't even know why. Why do we even do this?
Yeah, no, there's definitely moments where
You're
it's
capturing
like,
the crisis
what are we doing
live here on the Humble Hustle podcast.
It's like, I don't know.
There's usually a way to pivot, though. Usually when we get into those situations, it's because something's not working, and it's a creative enough thing that you can just be like, okay, that didn't work. Let's do this instead.
And I think after all the frustration that we deal with, like the feeling we get when one of like the best shots actually works and looks good, that makes it all worth it. Like when we see it on the screen, it's like, yes.
Like, okay, that one will work.
Yeah.
And you end up with those anchor shots. And you know, okay, like we got these few shots, that's going to make the whole thing seem good, even if the rest of it's
So
just
true.
filler.
There's some
Yeah.
filler shots that are like, it's not perfect. It's okay. Which I don't like to do, but
We
let's be
obviously
real,
want
it
everything to be
happens.
absolutely meticulously perfect, but life is life.
Exactly.
I mean, I forced us to call it quits that one day because I knew we were going to start half-assing it.
Yeah, no, we were in the studio
It was
definitely longer than, it was more than 8 hours. I don't know how long it was.
It was like
It was long enough that we ordered pizza
Yeah. It was
Ate
like
the pizza
6 or 7 p.m.
and kept shooting.
and we weren't done. And we were talking like for like the past 2 hours, like we should probably just try and push through. Like we're so close. And yeah, we kind of were, but the shots we needed to get involved a lot of setup. So it wasn't going to be quick. It was
No.
like, yeah, there's only like 2 or 3 things left, but it's a lot of setup.
Yep.
So I was like, you know what? I know this sucks. We're going to have to come back, but
But that's what we got to do.
we need to because our
Yeah.
quality is going to suffer.
Yep.
And I
We're
think it was
glad you did.
really worth it because
Yeah, it was. And we were able to do other things that we weren't going to do.
it was like a 4-day gap at least. Like, so we took a pretty long break. I had to leave everything set up how it was. We came back and we got what we needed, plus some extra stuff.
That's good. So it ended up working out. Yeah.
It did, yeah.
Still one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I can't even remember what product that was.
I don't want to say it.
Yeah, you don't have to. I'll think of it. But
It's
I
my
do remember
favorite
enjoying
product.
that shoot. Okay. Yeah. That was a good one. That was a really good one.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there any other things you want to talk about when it comes to even just like working with other, it doesn't have to specifically be with me, but like dynamics of working with people. We talked about it a couple episodes ago, but like, you know, you definitely work with a lot of other creators outside of me as well.
Mm-hmm.
You've second shot for people. Like, I guess, what are your thoughts in general of how that all works? Like how you tend to navigate that type of stuff?
Yeah. I like working with other people. I'm not the kind of person that wants to just like do it all myself. Sometimes I find myself leaning in that directions on certain things, and I have to sort of stop myself and
Was there anything wrong with working by yourself, or
No, there's not. But I just think that you sort of corner yourself when you try to do it all.
Yep.
I like working with other people. It's just a more fun process, especially like any sort of like an event, shooting an event. I hate doing it alone now. It's just way more fun having someone else to work with, and it takes it from feeling like work to feeling like an okay time. I feel like like, you know, you're at someone else's event, but you're like enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
And it's funny how just adding a second person can do that. Not only just reducing the stress of the task that you actually have to accomplish, but just having someone to communicate with is nice.
It makes a big difference for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of like, the studio stuff, bouncing ideas off of each other is incredibly valuable. In all ways, I think working with people is good.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of person, I get along with people pretty easily. And there's a whole bunch of friends in the industry that still ask me to second shoot. Like the other day, actually right when I got back from Vegas, I was on the plane when I got the text. My friend Devin, he asked if I could second shoot an event with him. And I was like, oh, I'm flying home. But like, sure. So like the next day we shot the event. I was a little tired, but it was fine. And it's fun. It's just fun working with other people in the industry. We ended up, connecting on other things. And I ran into an old client at that event, coincidentally, that has a big project that they want to do eventually, which was kind of awkward because it was his event, but it was my old client, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, working with people is good.
It is. I enjoy it. Okay.
That's all I got.
That was great. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was so fun. I enjoyed learning more about you. That was really cool.
Yeah. Thank you for
Hopefully
having me.
we all get to work together on something soon. That'd be great.
Yeah. Hopefully some big projects come down the pipeline. We'll all cross our fingers.
Yep.
And manifest some good clients that are going to not be too picky, allow us creative control, pay on time. What else do we want them to do?
That's pretty much
That
it.
sum it up.
That sums it up.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
a great list.
Solid budget, but yeah.
That's a
Right.
great list.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. You heard it here
that too
first.
much
We're
to ask?
manifesting. Yeah. Yeah, I love
We're
it.
going to go in and just create some
Magic.
really high-end things for them.
Yeah.
Some great projects.
Yep. I love it. Where can people find you? Like, what's your Instagram? Do you know?
My Instagram is ripsaw26, which there's a backstory behind that, but I'm leaving it. It stays. Tried to get rid of it at one point, and then people gave me crap. So
Oh my God.
it was back to the original tag, and that's what it is.
Okay.
You can find me there.
Love it.
Find me on LinkedIn. It's
You
my
have been
name
posting on LinkedIn a lot, so actually, yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
Him on
trying
LinkedIn.
to keep up on
Yeah.
LinkedIn
You've been
more
good about
often.
that.
Me too.
recently.
It's a struggle.
That's my new
it's
thing.
It's a struggle.
It's got to be done. That's
Yep.
where the clients hang out for our industries. And
Unfortunately.
yeah, it's honestly kind of better than Instagram.
Mm.
Since
Oh, yeah.
I've started being more active on there, I've started scrolling more on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And it
See,
feels
I'm not
weird.
The only one.
I try
It
to do
feels
one
weird.
scroll a day on LinkedIn.
But
one
it's so much
scroll.
better than those stupid mind-numbing reels.
Yeah.
I
No,
completely
seriously.
agree.
It is better.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her
Awesome.
and Rachel made fun of me for scrolling on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you said doom scroll. We were like, doom
I'm not a
scroll, but you
LinkedIn
said
doom
scroll. Yeah.
scroller.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
You-
doom though. It's
Yeah.
LinkedIn. It's I
It's
mean, there's some of
productive.
like it's a little more productive.
scrolling.
Productive
A
scrolling.
little more productive.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
God.
go
All
ahead,
right.
follow me on there. Follow me on Instagram,
Yep.
and
Love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
You know where to find us, the Humble Hustle Podcast. We're on YouTube and Spotify, and we are at Humble Hustle Podcast on Instagram. We're on TikTok too, so go check us out there. And thank you for listening and watching. Subscribe, 5 stars, all that good stuff. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.